I have Louise Bedford from Trading Secrets and Michael Yardney from Metropole Property Strategist. Now we're going to be talking about developing a wealth mindset. Michael, welcome.
Thanks for having me back.
Louise, welcome again.
Great being here.
Now guys, what is developing a wealth mindset?
Well, the problem is most of us are programmed as a child. We've got a thermostat, a level where we're comfortable. And once we get outside our comfort zones, we tend to shrink back into our comfort zones again. So it's our mindset, the thermostat level we're set at, that decides how wealthy we become.
So are you implying by that poor people have poor kids and it's the thermostat of wealth?
I guess we hear all the time that the rich get richer, and there's a reason why. And it's just not fair to a lot of us, but we can all in this country, in Australia, achieve real wealth. All we have to do is understand how wealthy people think and model them.
Louise, let's not worry about fairness. Let's just worry about earning a quid. How do we get on with that mindset and earn a few bucks?
One of the things I think we need to do is to develop our money scripts. These are, I guess, things that run through your head when you're thinking about money. And if you look at where these came from, a lot of the time it came from the people that you were brought up with, about your mum's view towards money, your dad's view towards money, and it's things that can actually work to our detriment. So if people really believe that the rich people are rich because they're drug dealers, as my dad used to tell me, then you've got a problem, because if you approach that level of wealth, you are having a lot of negative connotations go along with that. And that's a problem, because you'll actually go back towards that level where you're comfortable at. So firstly, to influence your mindset is very important by looking at how you view money and the things that you're saying to yourself about money.
Louise, surely if I earn more money, I will be wealthier. And it's as simple as that.
I've seen a lot of people earn more money and then trade their way right back down to ground zero because they weren't comfortable with that. I had a trader write to me a while ago saying that 10 years ago he'd traded $100,000 up to $13 million. If I had have stopped reading the email at that stage, it would have been great, but he told me that he actually needed a loan, and the reason was because he traded that $13 million right down to negative $1 million, and that's all in the space of a decade. And I bet you if we got inside that guy's head and we walked around, we'd find some pretty lousy attitudes about money and what it means to be wealthy.
Louise, surely in that scenario, that was just a bad strategy in the first place.
Over 10 years, do you think? It was pretty good to get him up to 13 million.
What do you think about that, Michael? Blowing 13 million's not bad, is it?
Dallas, I think there's two good examples. We've heard the story about people who win the lottery, and after a few years they haven't got it. So even though you give them $1 million, $500,000, they've lost it. The other thing I genuinely believe is if you took all the money in the world and distributed it evenly amongst everybody, in 5 years' time it would be back in the same proportions.
Now, that's fair enough, because the education is what will make you wealthy. Having money won't make you wealthy, and I appreciate that. Let's say you've got one person not doing something and another person doing something. What mindset makes somebody do something? How do you make somebody get off the lounge and go to the gym, or in this scenario stop playing computer games and start researching?
It's more than motivation. To me, mindset is the way you think about all sorts of things, including money. And it's from things you've heard as a child, things you've seen as a child, or things you've experienced as a child. So we were often programmed as kids, as Louise suggested, by our parents, our teachers, our schools, our culture. And those programs we got as a child are still with us as an adult. So the way we dealt about money as a child, in many cases, hasn't changed. So this is all subconscious, and we don't even realise it.
So what you're saying is that that attitude has transpired from your childhood to your adulthood based on your children, based on your parentage.
Based on the things you learned from people that had the best intentions of you. But Dallas, most of us have learned from unwealthy people. I bet you if your father was one of the Rich 500 list in Australia, the conversation around your kitchen table would be very different to the conversation that was around my kitchen table as a child.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. But what you've done for me is you've given me more ammunition for my lovely mother-in-law, because maybe that attitude of spend, spend, spend that my wife has come from my mother-in-law. So I'll be able to use that at Christmas time.
I do think we do have a choice, though. There comes a time in your life when you can get extremely angry with where you're at, and that negative emotion can actually drive you on as well. You know, a lot of people that I've seen achieve incredible wealth have had a bit of an eye of the tiger, a bit of a mongrel about them, and they've just got sick of being where they're at, and they're going to refuse to take that any longer. And that's when they seek out the best information and the best mentors.
So you're saying that I've had enough of this crap. I'm going to go and do something, and it's as simple as that. It's that mindset. I'm sick and tired of being fat. I'm going to go to the gym.
A lot of the time, people reach a snap point. They reach a point in their life where they just refuse to take it any longer. But if that's the only place where you're at, it just won't get you there.
Now, Louise, it's great that as an individual, I'm an individual, an inter-bloody vigil, as Mark Jackson once said. It's great if you're one person, but there's a big chance that we'll live with somebody and we get married. One wants to do it and one doesn't want to do it. Now, we've all seen that happen many times. What do you do if you're that one that wants to do it and you're with a partner that doesn't want to do it?
Dallas, when you have two different people with different mindsets in the relationship, it can cause friction. One of the things I think you need to do is, if you're the one with the vision for the family, you've got to keep on going towards your goals, because you're the one who is the leader of the family, whether it's the male or the female. The thing to do, though, to satisfy the person who is actually the follower in the relationship, is to make sure that you set some boundaries, set some ground rules, so that you know exactly what your relationship is going to bring about in terms of investing, and that way the person who is actually watching isn't going to be left out, and that they feel satisfied that you're not going to blow up the finances of the family.
How do you change somebody?
You don't change somebody, you change yourself, and hopefully they'll respond in terms of your own behaviour altering.
Habits, money habits, Michael. What do we do?
Well, first of all, you've got to recognise you've got them, because a lot of this happens subconsciously, and then what you do is replace bad habits with good habits. And one of the ways to do it is get mentors. Find people who've already achieved what you wanted to achieve, and work out how they think, how they behave, and the actions they've done. And if you think like they think, behave like they behave, do what they do, you know what? You're going to get the same results that they do.
Michael, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Louise, thank you. Well, there you have it, viewers. Louise Bedford and Michael Yardney talking about developing a wealth mindset. Go into guest profiles, have a look at what they've got to say about developing a wealth mindset. Get off the couch and make yourself some money. You never know, you might find somewhere to spend it. See you after the break.